Hey everyone, it's UA from the Strictly Broken YouTube channel. Before I get started on the topic of this video, I want to encourage all of you to subscribe to the channel and turn on the notification bell so that you can get notified whenever we make new videos. Furthermore, leave a comment, drop likes and dislikes on videos so that we can know and be receptive to the kind of videos you all like to watch and with the kind of content you want to see. So if you want to see something specific, definitely leave a comment down below. We read all of the comments and that's how we would know what kind of content to produce in the future. So thank you for that in advance. Now, on to the topic of this video. Okay, so whether you like it or not, look, I've watched some YouTubers, Vanguard YouTubers, VTubers something else, so that doesn't work. And a lot of people are fairly confident that clan identity will remain, that, you know, when we look at the units that they have spoiled, there is clearly the thematics of each clan still perfectly alive within the arts of the cards. I don't discount the idea that they're going to design units based on the clan thematics. But when you talk about deck building, deck construction, and ultimately what decks will end up being prevalent in the future overdress standard metagame, yeah, I think clan identity is going to suffer. It's actually probably going to become borderline irrelevant. Look, at a casual level, clan identity will always exist. There's no doubt in my mind they will create clan themed specific support in overdress standard. For example, Pale Moon, my favorite clan. I'll talk about it all the time. I will eternally love Pale Moon as a clan. They will definitely print, there's no doubt in my mind, they will print circus-esque themed cards, you know, trapezes, jugglers, clowns and everything, you know, everything they've already made up to this point. They will definitely make cards with those artistic themes to them. They might even bundle them together as an archetype, you know, the Pale Moon archetype, the circus archetype, who knows. But more likely than not, the clan identity will stop there, and once you get into serious tournament viable, competitively viable decks, you'll probably see these clans move away from the cards in these clans move away from the clan into the more generic specific nation. Imagine if the Pale Moon whatever clan archetype theme in overdress gets a really powerful card. It will make the Pale Moon clan archetype, I don't even know what I want to call it yet, stronger for sure. But what it will probably make even better than that clan is the nation-specific deck that takes pieces of these clans that are strong and bundle them all together into a generic good stuff's staple-based deck. I want to call Yu-Gi-Oh! As an example of this. Look at Yu-Gi-Oh! There are a bunch of archetypes in Yu-Gi-Oh! You know, Sky Striker, Trickstar, Performapal, X-Saber, Blackwing. All these exist. But what you end up seeing now in modern Yu-Gi-Oh! Is a shift away from archetype decks into these generic good stuff decks. Now, archetype decks still exist. Look at Sky Striker as an example. For the longest time, that clan archetype deck was the best deck in Yu-Gi-Oh! But you often see other best decks not being a deck based on an archetype, but rather a deck that combines the best cards from different archetypes into a deck. Look at the Pendulum deck from years back. It took the strongest Performapal cards and made an engine in the Pendulum meta deck that facilitated combos and stuff in that deck, but it wasn't a Performapal deck anymore. It was a Pendulum deck with a Performapal engine within it. I think overdress standard will also head in that direction. Speculative, yes, but I think if they were going to keep it all the same as before, you know, focusing on clan development, clan support, then what was the point of making a shift to nations to begin with? So that leads me to be very adamant about them maintaining clans, and that they are more willing to push towards developing these nation archetypes more so, and then having clans and their specific elements combined together to make those nation meta decks. Pulling from the Yu-Gi-Oh example, I also don't think that clans will never be meta. Very likely you will see times when specifically themed cards get enough strong support to become their own meta-specific strong deck. For example, I don't want to use Pale Moon as an example again because I used it so many times. Angel Feathers. Let's say an Angel Feather theme in that United Sanctuary Nation. They get enough good cards to support it. You know, they get this rearguard, they get this vanguard, they get these cards. And then you bundle it together and it's super strong, super meta. Just like Sky Strikers and Yu-Gi-Oh! This Angel Feather clan themed deck could become a meta deck in overdress standard. But what I am saying is that I don't think this will be commonplace. Just like how Sky Striker was the best deck in Yu-Gi-Oh! But more often than not, for longer periods of time, the better decks are always jumbled good stuffs decks that just combine the best cards. I think more often than not in Vanguard overdress standard, the good decks will be these combined decks, and at times we'll see snippets of powerful clan-esque decks that get enough support. All speculative in the end of the day. I want to back up my my speculations here with a example from Magic the Gathering. I am a pretty avid Magic player. I play Modern fairly consistently, and the last standard format that I played was the Dominaria to War of the Spark block, which saw, you know, it was a crazy format. War of the Spark was a super exciting just thing in itself. Planeswalkers coming in from all over every single plane and fighting Nicol Bolas, crazy storyline. During that era, there was a competitively viable Merfolk deck, quote unquote. It was competitively viable because at a Pro Tour, someone actually piloted that deck to moderate success. He ended up top 64ing, had an X3 record in the Pro Tour, keep in mind, tournament at the highest level. And that's an archetype. Merfolk, the most popular archetype in Magic the Gathering, did well in that format. The best deck of that format, in my opinion, you know, best deck's always arguable, but in my opinion and a lot of people's opinions, was Mono Blue Tempo. Mono Blue Tempo it was basically a tempo deck that had pieces of the Merfolk deck, pieces of fairy decks, and then backed up with very cheap and efficient counter spells and other, you know, did they play enchantments? I think they played a couple enchantments, but it just backed up with all these cards. It was just super efficient, super powerful. That kind of situation is what I predict overdress to be like, where though Merfolk might have a competitively viable deck and strategy, though Pale Moon might have a competitive deck strategy at one point, just taking apart the best cards in Merfolk and putting it into a more good stuffs based shell is just going to be a better deck. In the case of Mono Blue Tempo, the card they took out of Merfolk was Merfolk Trickster. Super broken card. It was a creature that worked at flash speed, that interacted with the board, made Mono Blue Tempo super efficient. It led to a lot of game-winning situations. And they just put it in the Mono Blue Tempo deck, and it was just such a powerhouse in that deck. That's what's going to happen in overdress standard. Maybe not even in the short term, when there's limited amount of releases and not enough generic good stuffs or powerful clan archetype support stuff that can be generic. You might see more people gravitating towards like clan themes. But as more cards release, as we see a bigger card pool, there's no doubt in my mind, if they are moving into that direction that I think they're moving into, clan decks that are more focused on a theme, like a playstyle, if they are going to be moving in the direction that I think they're going to be moving in, yeah, I think they're just going to pull the most powerful cards from the clans, move them into the playstyle specific to the nation, and have that deck be stronger. As it currently stands, when you look at spoilers, they clearly have intended purposes of the nations, a playstyle theme. You know, I saw that one nation was going to have a control theme, maybe another nation has a more aggro theme, and they're just going to pull out the best cards to support those themes from clans, I think, and then the best decks will be those nation generic good stuffs filled with good staples decks. Again, I do want to emphasize before ending this video off, yes, I think that clan identity suffers for the game in the competitive landscape and how decks ultimately want to be played at a high level, but that does not mean at all that you have to give up on your clan. Like me being a Pale Moon fan, I'm definitely, without a doubt, if there are circus themed cards, I'm going to make a circus themed deck for fun. That circus themed deck that I will be building, I don't think will be the strongest deck in the meta. The meta decks will pull the strongest cards out of my deck, put it with other cards that they pulled from other clans and sub-archetypes, and those are going to be the best decks. So yes, clan identity will suffer, but you don't have to give up on having clan identity specific decks for fun. That's it for this video, everyone. Thank you for watching. Make sure to subscribe, leave a comment, drop a like. I appreciate all the support you have all been giving the channel. It's really humbling, it's really awesome. Looking forward to making more videos for all of you. Peace, peace, peace.